This may be the unofficial home, the unofficial test track for the Verizon IndyCar Series, but it plays host in round number 2 of the classic IndyCar Series. We are here at Sebring International Raceway, and our coverage here on Racesport TV and on iRacing Live will start next. Welcome to Sebring, and welcome to round number 2 of the logical classic IndyCar Series here on Racesport TV, streaming live, of course, as ever, on iRacing Live. It's Will Vincent, Jack Stiles here, as we welcome you to Florida. And this is a track that has had so many years of experience in IndyCar, but only as a test track. But today, this will be 100 laps worth of racing here, Jack, and we are looking so forward to it, because you got turn 17, which is now turn number 7.
So exciting here. Welcome, or good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Sebring is a racetrack that we know so well. It's been around for so many years. So many iconic races have happened, and not many you see on the modified circuit that we're running today, but I think it's going to be an exciting race. Turn 2 and 3 through Bishop is going to be tight. Sunset is not going to be the fast and sweeping bend that we're used to. It's a tight right-handed hairpin, and it's going to be so exciting. This place has thrown up so many interesting races over the years, and I think the next 100 laps here today is going to be one of them.
Yeah, that's the thing about this racetrack as well. I mean, you start off there, you go off the track then at turn number 2 of the racetrack, and you do basically a hairpin, so to say. And then the final corner down here, I mean, that is not your standard Sunset bend. That is a hairpin and then a very difficult corner on the exit there, Jack. And that is going to be 100 laps. And these drivers, they don't race here very often. They race in the standard layout in the Verizon IndyCar Series on iRacing. It's different here with CIS, and of course using the old car as well, the IR05.
That 9,000 RPM kill, which is going to be so dangerous coming through Sunset, and turn number 9, which is going to be the second half of Sunset leading you out onto that main straight, is going to be so hard for these drivers to negotiate on the power and trying to build up speed to get a good run out, and it's going to be so interesting to see how the drivers deal with that over the course of the race.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out very quickly to our friends on RaceWhat TV. First of all, to Isman Balal, TrackHammer22.com, Andres Warner and One Design, Simon Grossman for ActionEar.in, and of course Nick Thurston for RaceWhat TV, live timing and scoring. Qualifying there is almost over here, Jack, and it's currently the driver, I'm having a look, of Henry Bennett leading the way from Robert Grosser, Michel Constantini in third, fourth place Joel Tremblay, fifth place Matt Cook. We need to talk about P6 though. He's come over from 2K World Cup. It's Philippe Leber, Mr. 2K.
It's such a big name in the 2K World Cup, and it's going to be so interesting to see how he does in the car with more power today, Will. The car and the Skippy, you cannot compare them at all. They're two completely different cars, and he's doing really well at the moment. He's ahead of a lot of names that we're used to in the Classic IndyCar Series. He's currently qualified 6th. At one point, your top 3 in qualifying were covered by just 300ths of a second.
Yeah, and Henry Bennett right now in the 007 machine there, representing James Bond, shall we say, from Robert Grosser in the one machine, of course, last year's champion. We'll have a look then at your starting grid for this round number 2 of the Classic IndyCar Series.
Testing.
Pole position here today. We'll go to the driver of Henry Bennett, 130 miles an hour. Robert Grosser alongside him on the front row of the grid. Row number 2 will be Michele Constantini, Joel Tremblay alongside him. Row 3, Matt Cook, Philippe Lever. Row 4, Lucas Ville and Austin Asperti. Of course, he did such a good job yesterday, as we saw him on Friday Night Prime Time. Row number 5 will be John Elsweimer and Liam Quinn. Cycle it on back there, and Jack, some big names all the way up and down the field.
A lot of big names up and down the field. 11th is going to be Timo Essen-Yamin, alongside him in 12th is going to be Matt Molnar. 13th is going to be Hans Pitkinen. 14th is going to be Jan Hoffman. 15th is going to be David Costello, and 16th is going to be Vesa Jula-Ollier. 17th is going to be Benjamin Gregory. 18th is going to be Carl Peterson. Niall McBride is going to line up 19th, and Marshall Stanley is going to round out your top 20. Big names in that between P10 and 20 that you'd expect to maybe see a little bit higher. A few more down the grid.
Yeah, and there's the remainder of your field cycling through on your screen right now. One pace lap, 100 laps here around the Sebring modified circuit. And it is a hard track here, Jack, because many people say, oh, it's Sebring, it's going to be boring. This racetrack, this layout is not.
It's really not. It's such a challenging circuit, and you've got so many different challenges with this one, and getting on the power coming out of turn 2 and 3, the hairpin to bring you round to miss out the top section is going to be so hard for these drivers to negotiate, and getting back on that power with these bumps, and you're going to be coming out of there in first gear. It's going to be so interesting. The cars are now setting off on their pace lap. They're going to do one pace lap round here. It's not going to be as long as usual, and then we're going to get going for 100 laps of racing. 100
laps here in the IR05 machine as well. And of course, Jack, we are building up to the 9th annual iRacing Indianapolis 500, one of the biggest events in all of sim racing. And a couple of these drivers here, I've heard, are thinking about making the challenge.
It would be interesting. I would expect to see a lot of these drivers on the grid for the Indy 500 at the end, towards the end of May, and a lot of the drivers in this grid as well are the names that you'll see up the front of the iRacing Indy 500 in top split. Some of the names in this field probably won't make it, but I expect there is going to be a few who do, and that is going to be such a good race. The month of May is not too far away from us now. I bet you're counting down the days.
23 days. You've talked about it. We are thinking about the month of May here on iRacing, of course, and on RaceWhat TV. Henry Bennett then just thinking about his brakes as we stand right now. There are the cars. They are all 2 by 2 as they work themselves down towards Sunset Bend. Turn number 17, historically, of course, but we're running the modified layout. And let's get ourselves ready then for the first lap here of the Classic IndyCar Series, round number 2. Let's take you to the green here on RaceWhat TV. Good start by Henry Bennett then. He leads away, but behind that, Jack, there has been a lot of action.
Everyone just chopping and changing places at the moment. My timing screens have been very active for the first lap and a half of 100 here, and Henry Bennett getting a good start, leading away and making a redemption from his race at New Hampshire a couple of weeks ago. Will, he hasn't spun it before the green flag even drops, and he's currently leading over Robert Gross and Michaela Constantini in third. And it's just looking down the field, some names already making a lot of moves up and down your field to make sure that they can cement their place throughout this long race that's going to happen today.
Liam Kuhn right now side by side of the battle with teammate in Yemi. Also involved in the battle of Matt Bologna there as they go through the final corner. Liam Quinn right now on P number 10. We got on board of the number 0 car in towards turn 1, and well, he gets one position but not another as he stays behind Matt Molnar in the battle for P number 9.
Yeah, a few cars also, I think, the 05 car of Jan Hoffman having a bit of trouble on the first lap as well, just having an incident with the wall coming off the final corner onto the main straight for the first time, and that's a bit unfortunate there. And one driver who didn't get the start is going to be Joshua Baird, and other than that, 36 cars running. Caleb Weekly is going to be down onto pit road this time, and 36 cars as well. That's the biggest road grid they've ever had for this series.
I was about to say, this is a huge field here today in the Classic IndyCar Series as we look on board and Niall McBride currently in P number 22. Niall McBride, IndyCar race, P number 22. We don't expect that here, Jack, because Niall is a fantastic car racer. We know him, of course, in things like the, what I'm looking for, the Indy Elite Series. He had a fantastic showing a couple of days ago. But here today, P number 21, he's just made a position then, and he's moved himself past Sam Winston to get that position.
Niall McBride clearly isn't having the day he wanted. He's over a second slower than Henry Bennett, and also one extraordinary thing, Will, is Henry was up all night doing the Oceanic Endurance Series or Endurance Championship, and he's coming now leading the Classic IndyCar Series. This guy, I don't know how he does it. He obviously does it on no sleep. We've got a car around exit at turn 3. That looks like the 134.
It is. We've got ourselves Franz Justus Dunn then. Turn around. Let's get ourselves a replay with him. In towards 2. Actually, notice at the back end, actually, let's get the camera correct on here. There's Sturm. There's the incident. Let's get that one more time. That was into turn number 3. He goes high and then gets tagged. The driver comes down the low side of him there, Jack, and he loses a position as a consequence of it.
Just looks like he didn't see the driver on his inside, and there's nowhere for Franz Josef to go, and all he was going to do is going to go for a bit of a spin coming out of turn number 3, and a bit unlucky for him, but it's a long race. He's now having a bit of a battle with one of his teammates there of 4X Racing, and still 96 laps to go in this race, and there is a long way to go. Expecting 2 pit stops today, around about sort of 30 to 40 laps, and then again around 60 to 70 laps. So expect these drivers' strategy is going to be a big thing, and that's going to show, and again, tyres are going to be very interesting today.
They will be. We'll go on board then with Robert Grosser, currently in P number 2, hunting down Henry Bennett. And of course, Grosser is one of those drivers that we know he is so fast in his i5 machines, but he's now in traffic, and Henry Bennett has a race lead. We have to have a look at the lap gaps here, because they have done now 5 laps in this motor race. And I will say one thing, last time by, Robert Grosser was faster than Henry Bennett, but the first time of this entire race that Grosser has been faster than that 007 machine.
These two were sort of matching times for each other in practice, and we're very close in quali at the moment. No one's really setting blisteringly fast lap times. Looking at the sectors, the fastest lap at the moment is going to be going to Michaela Constantini, just behind these two in third position with a 55.056, and obviously less than 1 minute laps and 36 cars is going to be a lot of traffic. Cars stopped coming out of turn number 3. He's moving again. That's your number 24 machine of Tyler Lugo Vickery, and he's obviously just had a bit of an issue. Don't know whether we'll be able to have a good look at that, but Robert Grosser, look at this, your top 3 now are all bunched up close. Something has happened coming off of Sunset. The number 9 is stopped coming through turn 9. That's brought your top 4 back into contention. Matt Cook now is going to be wanting some of this.
We're on board Michele Constantini then in the number 66 machine. Matt Cook is right behind as they work themselves now down to the S's once again. And well, Bennett, Grosser, Constantini and Cook. What more can you ask for from the Classic IndyCar Series? We go on board with Constantini.
And behind these guys as well, you've got Joel Tremblay, Lucas Laville, and Mr. 2K himself, Philippe Lebert. They're all going to be trying to go for this top position. Henry Bennett looks like he's just managed to get away from this, so it looks like it's going to be a battle for P2 instead of a battle for P1, but still a lot of cars. Number 24, that's going to be the car of Tyler Vickery. He's stopped at turn number 2 again. He's not having a great start to this race, Will.
And one of the things we need to talk about as well is that this is not your standard Sebring. The final corner here, Jack, is a hairpin, not a sweeping 180-degree left-hander.
That hairpin as well is so tricky, and there is a bit of an issue as well with that corner that can be rectified quite quickly. But all the drivers at the moment seem to be taking it very sensibly, and it just looks as though they're all thinking about the fact that this is a long race. It probably will not hit the 2-hour time limit today that we hit at New Hampshire. I think we're going to go the distance, but it's going to be interesting. Lucas Laville has managed to get his way up into P5, making his way past Joel Tremblay as well in the 99 machine. Joel was one of the quickest guys in qualifying, Will, and he's not having the start to the race he wanted. He's down in 6th place. He
is, and he's also just been passed by Lucas Laville, as you said, in the number 2 machine. So Vortex Sim Racing, and then up into P number 5. Matt Cook, though, running in P number 4. And Cook is a driver that we're not going to talk much about, I think, in this Aero X Banshee Racing machine, but he can strike when he needs to.
Sorry, he can. He definitely can. And
we got a car turn around as well.
Oh, we have. That's number 34 at turn number 2. He's on the inside by the looks of it. I'm just trying to find out who that is for you. Todd Nosefad looks like he's just lost it coming into turn number 2, and he's ended up on the inside. He's running again, and off he goes. But going back to what you were saying, Matt Cook is such a fast driver. We found that out at New Hampshire, and he's showing it again today. He's only 1.4 seconds back at the moment from the lead, and he's definitely going to be one. It's still very early in the race, and there's still a lot of drivers who we can look at and go, yeah, these guys are in contention for a win. Yeah, I'm going to look on board then with Todd. That's a weird one. That's the thing about these II5s as well. You lose it under braking, not on the exit of the corners. And Todd there, not sad, in the number 34 Carolina machine, just lost it down into turn number 2 there. He had nothing he could do apart from that. He just basically spun the car around. Could be inexperience, could be any number of things, Will. And one of the things that race control were really talking about for the start of this race was cold tyres. People were really struggling for grip. And when another car turn around, pits, we have. That's coming through turn number 5. That's the number 24. Tyler Vickery is having more problems today. And it looks as though he has taken the tow back to the pits just to get out of everyone's way, and that's probably a very good choice by him. Averted any issues and avoided any accidents. So there's a replay. I don't even understand how he did that, to be fair. Let's have another look. He got onto the grass through turn number 2. I mean, that's the thing, but you've got then a long set of corners, and then he just lost that car coming into... Yeah, he lost it coming into the corner. That's the issue. He just turned the completely wrong way. Just looks like maybe he caught the inside wheel on the curb, Will, and had a bit of snap oversteer. That's not something is quite common on these high downforce cars, and it just... At that point, you have nowhere to go other than the wall, and he wasn't having a great start to his race. He's had a few incidents already in a couple of spins, so I think he's probably called it a day now, and he is going to be out. Obviously, he's out so early. We've got another car stopped. That's the 996 of Vesu Olia, the Finnish driver. He's got going again coming out of turn 3. Not many people are liking that corner today. They're not. Replay then on board with Vesra. And loses there on the curb. That's more what we expected. That's fair enough. I mean, these cars have got a lot of power, and if you get into a high enough RPM and a low gear, you're just going to spin, and on a curb you're going to get less grip, so that's unlucky for him. At the moment, looking back to your lead battle, looks as though the top 7 are all back together, or top 4. We've got 2 groups forming now. Matt Cook, Michaela Constantini, Robert Grosser, and Henry Bennett is your fight for the lead. Laville, Tremblay, and Philippe Lebert are going to be your fight for P5 at the moment. These guys are still running pretty close. Big gap back to Austin Esparti in the 7 machine in 8th position, and, well, this is one of the names that we see so often in IndyCar racing, but it's the first time he's making an appearance in the Classic IndyCar Series. Yeah, and of course he's on the road to the iRacing Indianapolis 500, and there are a lot of drivers right now who are looking to partake in that one, the 9th annual iRacing Indianapolis 500. Henry Bennett is leading from the way, and I'll tell you one thing,
Bennett is right now my odds-on favourites for the 2018 iRacing Indy 500 because no one knows anything about him. That's the thing, and he slows it down into turn number 2 again. He's pulling away from Robert Grosser here and there, but he is still a driver that I think can understand what it takes to get himself 500 miles, 200 laps around the world's greatest race course.
He's someone who slipped under the radar and only really come out recently, Will, and really shown his colours big time, especially in the Classic IndyCar Series. He won the Winter Series overall, and he qualified on pole for New Hampshire, and he's done it again and is currently leading this race. He's such a fast driver, and he's one of the guys who can just get himself, he just settles himself in the car and off he goes for a long race. And 500 miles is a long way, and it's going to be a long race for these guys. They're going to have concentration all the way through. Obviously, cautions, if we get them, will mean that they can have a bit of a breather, just loosen themselves up, give themselves a bit of a break. But it's going to be one of those things they're going to have to watch for. Car stop coming out in turn number 3. That's the number 34 car of Todd Novsad. And it looks like everyone's just backing up in the lead battle coming through 2 and 3 there, Will.
Yeah, and that was huge there because Henry Bennett got held up. That allowed Robert Grosser to come right up to the rear of him as he worked through turn number 3. And here then Grosser will go, Bennett will go, drivers behind will go as well. Literally, all that traffic just pulled to one side. But also, of course, in the Classic IndyCar Series here on Racesport TV and iRacing Live, one thing that's worth noting, as Grosser goes down to the inside for the race lead. Can't get it just yet.
They went 3 wide coming down into Sunset Bend. It just looks as though Michele Constantini has managed to get his way up into second position as well. Look at this. 4 cars. They're all going to be running line astern. Bit of lap traffic on the inside. They're going to... Constantini, I think, might have got in the wall there. They're going to go 3 wide into turn 1. Is Constantini going to make it into the lead? Yes, he does. Henry Bennett is going to lose it, but here comes Robert Grosser. Bennett goes wide, and Grosser is going to be challenging down into 2 and 3.
Constantini, your new race leader here, and run number 2 of the Classic IndyCar Series replay coming up for you now. On board then with Constantini, and here he is down to Sunset Bend. First of all, it was Grosser. Then it was everyone else. Henry Bennett then in the 007 machine. What a fantastic run though from Michele Constantini. He gets himself the run, he works himself down to the inside, and he gets himself that race lead.
He just used his advantage so well over the traffic. I think Henry Bennett just got a little bit spooked by it, and he just couldn't keep up with him. And Constantini, when he goes for a gap, he goes for it. He's not letting that go. And okay, he's an oval specialist, he calls himself, but he's showing why he deserves to win this overall. And he may not be the strongest driver on the road, but you know what? I'd argue that actually, Will. I'd say he's one of the strongest.
Yeah, 15 laps will be scored complete next time by, and it's now Michele Constantini who is leading the way in the Vortex Sim Racing car. Henry Bennett now down into second place, and that all came down there to lap traffic, Jack.
Lap traffic is going to be such a big thing around this course. There's not many places that you can overtake safely other than the Ullman Straight and the start-finish straight. And actually, as you look, here we go. Henry Bennett just... Oh, no, wait, that's traffic. Ignore me.
I ignore you anyway.
There you go. Yeah, it's just more traffic, and the traffic is going to be so thick around here. I mean, we're 16 laps into this race now, and I think it's just going to be traffic management from now on, and that's going to be such an important part of this race. It's not only is the quickest driver going to take the win today, it's also going to be the driver who can manage the traffic best.
Well, that sounds like an endurance race at Road Atlanta, because at that track, it's not about how fast you are, how well can you manage the traffic. And here, this is not the normal Sebring. For those of you who are watching, this is a shorter, it's a modified Sebring, and because of that, Jack, it means that you've got to manage that traffic more than you would do on a normal racetrack.
You've still got those 2 fast straights, the Ullman Straight and the start-finish straight. You've still got that fast turn 1. But after turn 1, your only opportunity then to pass is on the exit of Le Mans onto the Ullman Straight. There's not really any places you can specifically stick your nose down.
Oh my word!
Henry Bennett! Wow, that was late, and he moves himself back into the lead on Michele Constantini. We need a replay on that one, Will, because that was a, yep, there's a gap, I'm going for it.
That was huge. Henry Bennett then to the race lead once again, on board of him for the moment, but here's the actual pass. You can just see he slides it down to the inside then of the driver, Michele Constantini, and he gets the pass complete. What a move there by Henry Bennett here on Racesport TV and on iRacing Live. we have to take a quick break here. We'll be back with more after this. Back here on Racewatch TV, two big incidents there. The race leader has changed once again, but also the 17 car has spawned there. Henry? You're not Henry, you're Jack.
Yeah, just looks as though the 17 car just had a bit of an issue coming through 8 and 9, coming through Sunset Bend. And the other big news is Michaela Constantini. Just before we went to the break, unfortunately we couldn't show it to you, he got back into the race lead, passing Henry Bennett around the outside through turn 1. That is a move that you do not attempt unless you know you can get it done. And Michaela, he got it done perfectly, and he is back into the race lead. Looks as though Michaela Constantini, Henry Bennett have also dropped third place of Robert Gross, who's currently under attack from Matt Cook. And while we were also away, Lucas Laville and Joel Tremblay have managed to catch up, and they are now in the battle for P3. And Lucas Laville set the fastest lap of the race at 54.485.
On board though, yeah, on board though with Michele Constantini. One lap on board with your race leader, Michele Constantini here. Wow, close to the wall as we do Racewatch TV fan immersion. Well, it's not often we say that, but not one, but two places then lost then from your race leader under green flag conditions. Michele Constantini down to P number 3, almost losing P number 4, as here comes Lucas Laville, upside down almost there, big trouble, caution almost out there on the racetrack here at Sebring, big wreck.
Yeah, just it looks like we're going to avoid a caution. Everyone seems to carry on going. Still a car stop coming down through turn 2. And that is Robert Grosser. Looks like he's moving again. So no need for a caution here, Will. But that was a big incident. And that has let Henry Bennett run off with a 3.5 second lead now. And in fact, actually, Robert Grosser That's big damage on that number 1 car. His day looks like it may be over. Michele Constantini and Lucas Seville looks like they may have just got away with that unscathed. But that is big, and that is not something which we would expect. Going 3 wide into turn 2 is something you do not attempt in any circumstance.
Yeah, here's a replay then. Oh my word, 2 wheels up in the air for the number 66 machine on Michele Constantini. We also saw Robert Grosser then also involved in that one. I wanted to actually see that one on board with Robert Grosser. Let's get a replay on board of him. He just spun around. Scoops and potatoes, literally. As he has another car basically turning back around there. And, well, Jack, that almost was a caution. But Robert Grosser did the thing you have to do if you're going to wreck on a road course. Stay in one position.
Stay in one position, let all the cars past and wait for a bit of a gap just so you can get yourself moving, get yourself off to the outside of the circuit, and then you can get on your way. And I think Robert did that so well and just avoided that need for a caution. Car 41 stopped coming through 10, 5 and 6 heading down into Le Mans. He is rolling again, so a few cars hitting trouble, and actually a lot of cars now, they're a lap down. Everyone from 23rd down is now going to be 1 lap behind your leader of Henry Bennett. And everyone at the moment, look at this, 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th, they're all going to be together. Austin Esparti and Philippe Lebert all of a sudden coming into this. We're going to have a 6-way battle for position number 2, Will.
Yeah, as you're just having a quick look there at Michele Constantini. Let's go on board of him. And this is him in towards turn number 1 on that incident. And Michele Constantini was losing positions at that point in time as well. We go on board in towards turn number 2. 2 wheels up in the air for the number 66 machine. Michele Constantini then down and around down at turn number 2 and 3. Well, Constantini, we're going to talk about him because he was in difficulties. We're on board with him once again. Sorry, we had some lost the camera there, shall we say. But Constantini is still in difficulties because he's got himself about going on behind him. Cook now up into 3rd place, down to the inside and towards 1. Cook can't make it work.
Just looking as well, a bit of an incident further down your field. A few cars were off coming down into turn 5 and 6. Luckily, no need for a caution, but they're quite a big gaggle. Slow moving car coming down the Allman Straight as well. So at the moment, everyone's just looking like maybe they're starting to get unsettled with traffic. But Matt Cook, he's looking to get up into that final podium position. But Lucas Seville will not be giving anything away in any hurry.
Yeah, so go on board with Matt Cook for the moment. Here's a replay then. What just happened a moment ago. Talk us through the incident there, Jack, because it was a big one down, P number 6, 7, 8.
I didn't see the start of it. I only saw the end of it. I saw a 4 or 5 car. Oh, we've got contact. Matt Cook looks as though Lucas Seville has managed to go into the side, or he's lost it coming through Sunset Bend. Matt Cook had nowhere to go. Those two made contact. Seville is in the wall. Both are going to be down onto pit lane to get repairs. Coming up as well, car 13 stopped on turn 2. That's Benjamin Gregory. He's taking the tow, and that's big contact between Lucas Seville and Matt Cook. Just saw it on my screen, and their days are over. And that promotes Joel Tremblay up into P number 3.
Yeah, replay then on board with Lucas Seville, if we can get it. That's the end of it. Let's get the start of it, shall we? Lucas Seville, the Perrier machine. Matt Cook goes alongside him then onto Sunset Bend. We always talk about it, the corner of the 1,000 lines. And Lucas Seville just lost it all by himself originally. And then Cook just pushed it up wide. And then Cook doesn't even make the corner by himself.
Just looks as though Cook wasn't able to, or almost couldn't predict that Lucas was going to do what he did. And I think that's just unfortunate for Lucas, caused him a little bit more damage. And maybe it's what put him into the wall. But it's just mistakes like that you cannot be making when you're fighting for the podium positions. And unlucky for those two, they're currently sat down in P14 and 15 respectively, and they're going to want to be making their way back up through the field. Few cars now looking, coming down onto the pit lane. Few extended stops as well now, Will, and we are approaching the first pit window. Tank of fuel roughly here is about 35 laps, so we're going to be looking at the next 10 laps or so. We're going to be looking at getting all the pit stops done for the first time. And
Henry Bennett right now, he's got a 2.3 second advantage over Michele Constantini, but he has got a lot of lap traffic around him right now. This is a situation, do you pit early if you're Henry Bennett? Because in fact, he won't come towards pit road. Because for Henry Bennett, he needs to understand that you will lose maybe half a second a lap if you get it wrong.
Half a second is a lot of time around here as well on such a short track. Khalid Weekly as well having a bit of issues coming down into Sunset. Another car, your number 9 car, spun through Le Mans, and just I don't think everyone is making so many mistakes today here, Will. It's not causing big incidents, and that's a good thing. And Robert Grosser as well, I've just seen, is running quite a lot of damage on his car still, and he is down in 9th position at the moment. Joel Tremblay actually down onto pit road to make, I presume, is going to be the first stop, as well as Robert Grosser. So pit window is definitely open now.
Yeah, first major pit stop of the day there for Joel Tremblay in the number 9 Canada car, Logical Vortex Sim Racing machine, on its way in 9.8 seconds as he comes out of pit road. No one really around him. That can be an advantage here, there, Jack, because it means you can do some clear laps.
Another thing as well is Lucas Laville has managed to get out ahead of Joel Tremblay. He's in P12 and Joel Tremblay is down in P17, so that's interesting. Wow. And it also looks as though Matt Cook as well has he's back down onto pit lane.
Yeah, don't forget, Cook had an incident, and that's because he might have pitted, but that's not really, I don't think, anything representative about what Cook's final performance will be. He's going to have to work hard the last stage of this race.
Yeah, that's already his second stop of the race, Will. That's the second in about 3 laps. I wonder whether him and Lucas had another incident. I don't know. Did hear a little bit over the voice chat, but not too much. And Lucas, at the moment, he's going to be currently sitting in P12, waiting for everyone to cycle themselves through the pit stops. And we've had a few cars down onto the lane so far. Matt Cook as well, just struggling to find his way on new tyres by the looks of it. And he's got Henry Bennett right... Oh, no, not Henry Bennett. He's got another car right behind him. And it just looks as though everyone at the moment is settling down and making sure that they can get to the end. Still a long way to go, 70.5 laps left for your leader.
Yeah, Randy Shoemaker's right behind Matt Cook right now as we're looking on board the Aero X machine of Matt Cook here on Racesport TV. But your race leader is still the driver of Henry Bennett. And Henry Bennett has led the entire race so far. 1.9 seconds is the advantage between himself and Michele Constantini as the top 8 come down the bottom of your stream. Fantastic run by Constantini, and also by Bennett, of course, the race leader.
Constantini and Bennett have been at it all race. They've been swapping positions. Bennett has just done the fastest Sector 2 time of the whole race. First one that I've seen below 20 seconds as well for Sector 2. So even though it might be late on in the stint, he's on old tyres. You know what? He's still going fast, Will, and just using maybe that bit of draft to his advantage. And these guys have been at it all race, and I think we've got so much more to come in this race. Austin Esparti as well, currently in P3, but of course that's because pit stops are starting to cycle itself through. And first car who has pitted is your number 2 car of Lucas Laville, but he is not going to be able to take the race lead. I would actually say once everyone has cycled out, he will probably be in about P3, and I think he's going to have to do a bit of fuel saving to make sure he can get on to the end on just one more stop.
Let's talk about Esparti for a minute, because he has had a good race here today, a great race 2 days ago.
Esparti, he's on fire at the moment, isn't he, Will? He's really showing himself on Friday primetime in the Verizon IndyCar Series, and he's just showed up to here in the Classic IndyCar Series and gone, bang! Yep, I'm showing that I'm good in the IndyCar. It just looks like we've got a car reversing coming out of turn number 3. That's your number 34 machine and Todd Nosad. He's had a bit of a bad day, really, Will. He's had his fair share of troubles in that number 34 machine, and he's rolling now, coming through turn number 6 and down into Le Mans. So Henry Bennett at the moment, he's doing a sterling job to continue in that lead. And at the moment, it's going to be interesting to see how the strategy is going to play out for all the other drivers.
On board with Austin Esparti, currently in 3rd place, as we talk about here. Henry Bennett, though, does still lead the motor race, and he's got a 1.9 second advantage right now over Michele Constantini, as we are going to take you then on board with Henry Bennett. For a moment here on Racesport TV and iRacing Live. I'll be back in a second. 3.
Welcome back to Sebring and the second round of the Classic IndyCar Series. Michele Constantini has just made his way back into the lead, got his way past Henry Bennett, and these two have been really going for the position here. These two are really trying to have a bit of a scrap for this lead, and Henry Bennett at the moment is making sure that he is going to be providing that dominance. He's back in the lead. These guys are changing positions more than ever, and it just looks as though everyone's going to be starting to cycle their way through pits for the pit stops for the first time. 35 laps into this race now, 65 to go. 100 lap race here at Sebring International Raceway. I am Jack Stiles alongside Will Vincent, and this is going to be a cracking rest of the race. Austin Espartee is going to be the first of your front runners down onto the pit lane in that number 7 machine. That promotes Philippe Lebert up into P number 3. Your lead battle for Henry Bennett and Michele Constantini is going strong, and Michele is definitely showing why he's proving to be one of the greats in this series, along with Henry Bennett. That number 66 machine took the Ovals Championship in 2017, and he is going for overall honours in 2018. Henry Bennett as well is going to be going for overall honours. For your other drivers as well, he had a few issues. Liam Quinn as well down onto the pit lane, and so far this race has been super exciting. Coming up for 36 laps completed, will either of the two leaders come down onto the pit lane? Your 58 machine is going to be stopped down onto the final corner. Here's rolling again. Your two leaders carry on, coming round through to complete another lap. 37 down, 64 to go.
What a pass by Michele Constantini in the battle for the race lead there. He will actually still remain in second position, but Liam Quinn out in 11.2 seconds then over a 34.4 second pit road. And we've also got ourselves Espartee. He did a 34.9 second pit stop lane to lane. 9.1 seconds for Lucas Avil, but that was 32.9. Actually, Avil, very short pit stop by him.
I wonder whether it was probably because he didn't take as much fuel, Will, because he pitched a little bit quicker, didn't he? Or he pitted earlier, sorry. So he didn't need as much fuel, and it just looks as though Philippe Lebert is done. He's done a 12-second stop. He's out in 35.4, so a bit of a longer time on pit lane. Timo Yemi as well down onto the pit lane, and it just looks as though top 3. John Elsweimer as well. He's going to make his way up into third position, but Henry Bennett and Michele are going to be down onto pit lane now.
Off.
That was gross. And
he's
yes,
off
Philippe
big time.
Is off.
Yeah, Lebert's off once. He's off again. He's out. He's out of the race. And I was about to say that Philippe Lebert, one of the sexiest looking cars we've seen in the Classic IndyCar Series, but now he's had 2 cars hit him in the space of 2 corners, and you can see the wiggles. And that's the wiggle that you never want to have in an IndyCar number 10 machine. Then going to try and bring it on towards pit road, but Philippe Lebert is out.
He is out, and he also, I believe, had a contact with Austin Espartee. I don't know whether that will affect his race. Lucas Laville is going to cycle his way out into P number 3, and it just looks as though Michele has managed to jump Henry in the pit lane, and actually, he's got a 3-second lead over him. So Henry Bennett, he's had a slow stop, and here we go. Philippe Lebert is going to be coming on the inside of Sunset Bend, running slowly down onto the pit lane, make sure he's out of the way of everyone else, and that's an unfortunate way to see someone who's so good in whatever car you throw him in have his race end so cruelly. And it's just one of those things that happens with the IndyCars. It's such a hard car to drive sometimes.
The thing for Philippe Lebert as well is that he had himself no pit stop, and here we are. One more look at this one then. Actually, I say that back. He did have a pit stop. He was on cold tyres. Looking, oh my word. He gets himself turned around. And that's Lebert's own incident there. He didn't start it. Well, he did start it, but that was Lebert's incident. He did not get hit. He hit someone else.
He just got that cold tyre death wiggle, and the number 88 machine is going to be stopped as well on the Almond Straight. He has taken the toe back to pit lane, Will, so he is out of the way as your leaders come through for the 39th time. And, okay, we're only 40 laps into this race, but at the moment, it's definitely hotting up. I'm going to say my bet to take the win is either going to be Michele or Henry, because those two have put on such a good job. Don't count out the guys behind, though. Lucas Laville, it just looks as though Austin Espartee has managed to overcome. Look at this. Liam Quinn is now coming into it. So far, biggest mover and shaker is going to be Johnny Corrette in the number 68 machine. He's up 15 positions on where he started. Will currently down at P10, rounding out your top 10.
Yeah, but the thing is that it's gone to Stanley or Bennett, but traffic will be a big part of this race as well. Constantine leads right now, Henry Bennett by 4 seconds almost on the racetrack. Lucas Seville is 9 seconds behind your race leader. And Austin Asperty is currently 16.5 seconds back. Liam Quinn in number 5, and Timo Isinami in 6th. Robert Grosser in 7th, and then Mans Pitkanen in P number 8. But Henry Bennett is losing time lap on lap now to Michele Constantini. Here is the gaps as we come through. And last time, Bennett gained, 4 thousandths of a second. That's nothing at Sebring.
No, it's really not, and it just looks as though traffic is playing into that. At the moment, Michaela's got clear. Henry Bennett is currently making his way through a big pack. He's still got a couple of cars left to go in that pack, and just looks as though Michaela is using that to his advantage. You've got one car ahead of him in his near distance. 34 machine stock coming through Le Mans, and looks as though the 996 probably won't throw up any trouble as they come down into turn number 2. But Henry Bennett just looking though he's trying to make his way through that traffic. He's looking like he's getting to the front. He's still got one car, but he's got a couple of cars ahead of him. Also looks like Andrew Adair Saunders has stopped coming out of turn number 9. He is running again, and the number 3 machine as well is going to be stopped coming through turn number 2. That is Randy Shoemaker. He's not having a great day as well either, Will.
Shoemaker, there we are, we're looking on board of him right now, that new Haas machine. And he's not had a good day at all. Here's the replay then, on board of him. Because Shoemaker's a better driver than that.
Shoemaker's, he showed himself last year, and he definitely had some good runs, and he has good days and bad days.
Lost on the entry to turn number 2.
Yeah, exactly. I think everyone's just struggling with that hairpin because so many people aren't used to it at Sebring. It's not a layout I've ever raced at all, and I expect not many of you or many others have as well. Matt Cook, fastest lap of the race of 54.768. He's showing that he is still going to be one of the big contenders for the rest of this race, currently sitting down in P number 12. He's going to be looking to get back up towards the front of this field, hopefully fighting for a top 5 by the end of this race, Will.
And the thing about Cook as well is that he does not take a bad position lightly. As we go on board of him then, we're going to ride a lap on board Matt Cook, but this is a driver who does not say, P number 12, okay, I'm going to saddle here. He wants more. On board with Matt Cook, Banshee Autosports, AeroX Racing, down as they come towards Sunset Bend. We go on board of him. He's battling with the driver of Udia there in the number 996 machine, but Cook now up inside your top 10. He's got himself a fantastic battle ahead of match team. We'll talk about that from over there, because we've got ourselves Jack, driver of Marshall Stanley and Johnny Garrett, battling for number 8.
Yeah, good battle between these guys, and Matt Cook is going to be wanting to get onto the back of this, make up a few more positions. He's not too far behind it, only about 4 seconds at the moment on the back from the back of P number 9, Marshall Stanley. Reason why Matt Cook was able to get up into or jump another position as well was Liam Quinn had an incident with Randy Shoemaker coming out of Le Mans onto the Ulman Straight, and they both ended up on their roll bars. Those two, their race is going to be over. Liam Quinn is going to be out running again, and so is Randy Shoemaker. So the damage obviously not too bad on those cars. Felipe Felipe Bear down onto the pit lane to make his third stop of the race. But at the moment, it just looks as though Matt Cook is on a charge. Gap already down to 2.6 seconds between him and Johnny Garrett.
On board with Stanley right now, he has lost a position to Johnny Garrett. In fact, he's gaining position to Johnny Garrett. That's what I mean there. He's now up into number 8 in the number 25 machine. But let's talk about attrition here for a moment here, Jack, because attrition is always a big thing at Sebring. As we see Garrett then coming out of the final corner, Sunset Bend, down towards the start-finish line once again. But this racetrack, I always compare this version of this racetrack to Road Atlanta, because it's not about what you gain, it's about what you lose.
Sebring is one of those tracks where attrition is so high and you have to be on your ball all the time. 36 cars started this race, just 21 left on the lead lap, and it looks as though there is only 26 left running in the race now, Will. So the attrition rate has been high for sure, and it's going to keep on growing. Still 55 laps to run, and 54 laps to run, and it's going to be a race where people just have to keep it on the tarmac and keep it nice and steady to be able to make it to the end. And honestly, I think some drivers haven't really come into this race knowing that this circuit, it's tough. It's very tough. For 100 laps, it's a very tough circuit. For something like we see in the iRacing 12 Hours in Sebring, or the virtual racing school iRacing GT World Championship, where you have a 3-hour race, it's extremely tough because those drivers have to be concentrating all of the time.
Yeah, but out front it is Michele Constantini who's leading the way. And the gap is now 5.7 seconds between P number 1 and P number 2. Although, oh, look at that. Constantini there has to go through that traffic on the run through the S's. And Constantini has lost time over the last few laps. But Constantini is leading the way right now, and he's got a big gap.
A big gap indeed, and Constantini has got it out to 6 seconds now over Henry Bennett. Bennett was quick to start off with this in this race, but he just cannot keep up. The traffic is really hurting him now, and I think he's very slowly being left into the clutches of Lucas Laville. He's only 3.5 seconds behind, and Lucas, I think he's going to want that second position more than anything, and Henry will want to keep it. He wants those championship points, and Michaela at the moment, he's leading the championship overall, and he wants to be able to hold that. Obviously, penalty points were applied, as we see Michaela just getting past some traffic. Penalty points were applied from New Hampshire for the spins on the restart, so harsh penalties have been incurred. And in fact, Johnny Garrett and Matt Cook are going to be having a little bit of a scrap.
Yeah, on board actually. Cook has got himself no, he's not. He's still behind. Replay coming up for you right now. And this is the thing about Cook as well. That was very close towards turn number 1.
It was extremely close, and Cook will want to take that risk to be able to get higher positions. We're not even at the halfway stage, and Cook is definitely taking some questionable decisions at the moment, but he's making them look safe. And here we go. He's going to be looking up down into the second part of the sunset on the inside. He's going to get the move done, or is he not? Johnny Garrett, look at that, the outside line working perfectly for that number 68 machine, and Matt Cook has got nothing to answer for it. Can he do a Constantini around the outside into turn number 1? No, he cannot. He's going to look down to the inside. Don't do it through 2 and 3. Matt, it's only going to end in disaster. He's got to do it coming out of Le Mans down into sunset.
We're back in a moment here on Racesport TV and iRacing Live. Yes, the outside line through the final corner for the final time. Once again, photo finish here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Will it be Tim Hogan? It's going to be Christopher DeMerit at the line. Welcome back. We're on board right now. Michele Constantini, he is leading the way here in the second round of the Classic IndyCar Series here on Racesport TV and iRacing Live. And we'll say one thing here, Jack, is that he's had traffic, but he's dealt through it.
He's been working through the traffic great. I think his Neo Endurance Series experience is definitely showing today, and Henry Bennett has got nothing to answer. He's now 2.3 seconds ahead of Lucas Leville, and Leville is catching and catching fast. Timo Signemi and Robert Grosser are going to be having a bit of a scrap for P number 5, and it just looks as though Matt Cook as well has managed to get his way up into P number 8. Robert Grosser as well is able to get his way up into P number 5, get himself past Timo Signemi. He's on the recovery drive from what happened earlier, and Matt Cook as well is doing the same. He is setting blisteringly fast lap times now, only 7 seconds back from Hans Pitkanen. He's a lap down now though, Will, from Michele Constantini, so don't count him in for the win, but I definitely count him in for a top 5 at least. Car number 41 stopped coming out of Le Mans, and he is now rolling again. That's Noah McBride, and everyone's just having a few issues today, Will, and not being able to keep it nice and clean, and I think that's one of the things that's going to stem from just the difficulty of this racetrack.
It's not about what you do, it's about how you do it. Noah McBride then replay on board of him. He just pushes wide there.
And I wouldn't be surprised. That corner is so easy to push wide on, and if you get on the power just even a tenth of a second too early, you could end up in the wall. And Le Mans is such a fun corner, but such a difficult corner. You can use that little bit of extra road off to the left coming through 6 just to be able to get through there and not have any problems. But even if you just get one of these wheels out onto the grass and a little bit too much power, well, you're just going to be going for a merry-go-round ride coming out. Car stopped at turn number 10 on the inside. That's Philippe Lebert. His day is going from bad to worse to even worse now. He's completed 3 pit stops, and not the most out of any driver. That goes to Robert Waddell. He's had 6 and is no longer in this race. He has pulled it over and decided to call it a day. But at the moment, Philippe Lebert is not having his Classic IndyCar Series debut that he would have wanted.
No, and this is Philippe Lebert, of course. He is such a big driver in the 2K World Cup. He owns the 2K World Cup and he's great in it, but not doing well here today.
And I wonder whether it's just a change of car from what he's used to. We usually see him in the Skippy, a small car, still a single-seater, but a small car, not much downforce, not much power, and it's so much about carrying the speed through the corners. The IndyCar, it's more about keeping that power. It's like having 600 horses behind you that are ready and waiting to go at a horse race, and they all want to escape the gate at the same time. In the Skippy, you don't get that as much, and I wonder whether Philippe Lebert is just having a bit of trouble getting used to that. He's down onto the pit lane again. He's P number 4. Don't get us wrong, he is extremely quick, and he has shown that throughout the race. He's got one of the quickest times of the race, and in fact, he has he's got the 10th quickest time of the race, I think, out of all the drivers, but he is just not struggling. He was struggling to keep that car on the track, and he's losing even more positions now in the pit lane.
Meanwhile, Pitkanen currently in P number 7, and Pitkanen is in a battle Or was he? No, he's not anymore. He was in a battle, he's not anymore. Let's go back to the front of your racetrack. And here's the issue right now for Michele Constantini. He's got himself traffic coming up around him. And he's got to now find a way of dealing with that traffic. He's going to win that motor race.
It's just like watching, it's just a massive gaggle of cars, basically, that he's trying to work his way through, that he's quicker than, and he's doing it well, and last time around he was about 4/10 quicker than Henry Bennett on that lap. Number 68 machine is going to be stopped coming out of turn number 3. He is moving again, so Johnny Goret having a bit of trouble this time with Bishop Corner, and I think everyone, or Michaela at the moment, is doing a great job with that traffic, and Henry, he just cannot answer to Lucas Laville. He's back, the gap is now 2 seconds,
Jack.
and as soon as Lucas gets into that draft range, he's gone.
Here we are on board, Michele Constantini then leading the way here. But we look a bit further back, and you've got ourselves a battle going on between Lucas Laville and also the driver of Henry Bennett.
Henry Bennett is one of those drivers who can definitely show
Can he
when
take
he needs
over
to,
after this, by the way, because I feel like shit.
and he will definitely be struggling. Gap is now 1.8 seconds, and he's one of those drivers who can definitely. Gap is just, he's staying around that. I think they're both struggling with a better traffic at the moment. Lucas Laville has got to make his way past that number 4 machine of Andrew Adair-Saunders, and then the next driver, he's going to be that car of Henry Bennett, and Henry Bennett is going to have to defend hard from Lucas Laville. And Lucas Laville, we know he's a tough driver. He's runner-up twice, 2 times on the trot in the Classic IndyCar Series, and he is going to be wanting a little bit more from this year, but he's got stiff competition. Andrew Adair-Saunders is going to get out of the way for Lucas Laville. Lucas Laville has now got his sights set on Henry Bennett just ahead in the 007, and he is going to be looking forward, and he's going to be wanting to get as much pace as he can. Last time round, Henry Bennett was 0.5 of a second quicker than Lucas, and Lucas just looks as though he is going to be trying to get there, and actually a little bit of a wiggle coming out of turn 1 down into 2 and 3 at Bishop, and let's see what these guys can do. Lucas Laville as well. Everyone else looks as though we're going to be approaching our second round of pit stops in the next 10-15 laps, and these guys are going to be wanting to get down onto the lane.
Bennett,
Also, do not forget, we will be having the JRT Clean Driver Award will go to the driver with the least incident points from the day. So far, that award is going to be going to Carsten Brodby, Michael Gerlicher, or Marshall Stanley. For the oval races, myself and Will choose our driver of the day, and they will win a Pro Key of JRT. For the road races, the driver with the least incident points from the race will win a Pro Key of JRT. And for the Pocono 500, your pole sitter will also win a JRT key. Number 17 car is going to be stopped out of turn number 3. It just looks as well. Henry Bennett in clean air has managed to get a little bit more of a gap over Lucas Laville. Lucas Laville as well. I think he's starting to deal with a little bit more traffic ahead for both of these drivers. Michaela Constantini is still continuing to lead with 40 laps remaining.
Klaus Peterson, by the way, in P number 14, as he battles it out with Carson Bodaway. And that's the thing, as we go through the sequence of pit stops here, Jack, things will change quite a lot, because out front we've got ourselves one strategy going on, but it's got more going on behind it. And I was also going to say that Peterson had a much better run. Jack, talk.
Everyone, or so far in this race, everyone is going to be nice and steady. Henry Bennett is going to be keeping that gap. In fact, actually, he has extended the gap by another 0.2 on the last lap over Lucas Laville. Laville just cannot answer. So late on in the stint now for Laville as well. He's going to have to come down onto the lane at some point. 34 laps he has, or 35 laps he has now done on that tank of fuel. 39 laps in the race remaining. Don't think he can make it from the end here. He's going to have to do a lot of fuel saving. And Henry Bennett is on the newer tyres, so he's able to get a little bit more lap time. drivers coming up from behind. It just looks as though Austin Esparti has lost this lead battle. He is about 16 seconds back now from Lucas Laville, and Robert Grosser is another 12 seconds back from him. That is your top 5 at the moment. Everyone else nice and steady. We're going to be approaching that second round of pit stop. Matt Cook, his charge through the field has halted. He is currently still P8, 7 seconds behind Hans Pitkänen. I think the traffic has just stopped him. The 07 machine of Liam Quinn is going to be stopped coming out of Le Mans. He's not had a great day at all. He's on his 4th pit stop already and is not having all that he needs. Niall McBride as well, another name that we see so often in IndyCars up the front. He's again having a bad day, and I think it's a bad day is going to reflect for the rest of the season for some of these drivers. Michele Constantini now coming through turn number 1. He is continuing to lead this race, and Henry Bennett is going to be second, Lucas Laville in third. Your top 3 so far, 38 laps remaining, and Michele is going to be showing why he deserves to be one of the best drivers in the Classic IndyCar Series. Car stop coming out of turn number 7. That is going to be your car 33 of Timo Yemi. Let's go and have a look at what's happened here. He is round and he is stopped, and that looks as though maybe he's lost it like most other people. Yeah, he just lost it on his own. Too early on the power coming through Le Mans, and around he went. He's back up and running. He's still in P7, but it looks as though he's lost a position to Hans Pitkänen. And Pitkänen is going to make his way up to 6th. Just 3 seconds behind Timo now is going to be the driver of Matt Cook in the number 46 machine. He is currently following Henry Bennett, so he has actually fallen behind your second place driver now, a lap down, and I don't think he's going to be able to come back from that now. 36 laps remaining. Michele Constantini continues to lead. We're going to ride a lap on board with Michele. We're going to take you RaceSpot TV fan immersion.
Hold it. Carry on.
Welcome back to RaceSpot TV and to iRacing Live, to Sebring International Raceway for round 2 of the Classic IndyCar Series. 35 laps remaining now in this 100-lap race around the modified course of Sebring International Raceway. If you're joining us just now, it's not your normal circuit that we usually see from Sebring. It's a shortened version with a tight hairpin just after turn 1, and Sunset Bend is no longer as fast, but a lot trickier as well. Jack Stars alongside Will Vincent bringing you all the coverage today, and Michele Constantini at the moment holding off Henry Bennett with about a 7.5 second lead. Second round of pit stops is starting to occur. Robert Grosser is going to be down onto the lane this time. While we were away, Lucas Laville also came down onto the lane as well to complete his second stop. He is going to be close to get to the end. Robert Grosser now, he is definitely going to be able to get to the end. A 37 lap stint from him, which also confirms that Lucas Laville should be good to the end of this race. He's going to make his way back up to P number 4. Austin Esparti is going to be running P number 3, a driver we see so often in the Verizon IndyCar Series on RaceSpot TV Friday primetime today, running his debut in the Classic IndyCar Series, having a strong debut. Matt Cook as well down onto the lane along with Vasi Julia Ollier and Henry Bennett and Michele Constantini, two names we are so familiar with in this series. Everyone's starting to filter down onto the lane for their second and final stop of the race, and it's going to get busy down on pit lane this time. Michele Constantini is going to be looking maybe soon. He wants to try and get as far as he can on this stint to make as short a stop as possible. Still got about 7 laps left, I estimate. Same with Henry Bennett. So Austin Espedy down this time. He's going to be looking to get a longer stint for his final stint, I think. And just running through your top 10 as it stands running through the top 10 as it stands after the pit stops have occurred. Carson Brovey is going to be able to get his way past Matt Cook as Matt Cook just exits himself out of the pit lane. Austin Espedy is going to be down and away in a 10.8 second stop, back out onto track in 34.1 for the lane time. And Henry Bennett's in the fast going personal best as well. That lap of 54.888. Matt Cook still has your fastest lap of the race with a 54.768. And at the moment, it just looks as though everyone's settling down. And Will, are you still there?
I'm still here as we're on board with Henry Bennett right now. He's right now some seconds behind Michele Constantini as we come down towards the Le Mans Trailer once again. But also one thing is that Michele Constantini has got the advantage.
Michaela so has the advantage. He's been strong in race. He's been great in traffic. Henry Bennett has had a little bit of trouble in traffic, but Michaela has been showing that he is strong and that he is willing to get going and wants to get this done. And at the moment, my timing screens are saying 3 cars are left on the lead lap, but that's more down to the pit stop. So it's going to be probably another 5-6 laps before I can tell you where everyone is going to be settling down and sitting for this final few laps of the race. Henry Bennett as well. He's going to be wanting to take this challenge. He's keeping the gap at about 7.5 to 8 seconds. The traffic isn't as bad as it was because of the amount of retirements that we have had. 36 cars started this race. 22 are now left running. Randy Shoemaker is going to be your last car running on the circuit, and Michaela Constantini is going to be trying to keep that lead. Looking back further back down your field, Matt Cook and Carson Brovey, as well as Austin Espedy and Timo Isinyemi, are going to be going for a little bit of a battle. Let's go and have a look at that battle between Austin Espedy and Timo Isinyemi. It's actually got a little bit of a battle because Austin has managed is trying to get away from Timo now. Carson Brovey is going to be bringing it down onto the lane this time, and Jos Vanderven is going to get his way back up into 12th. He has already finished he's already completed his second stop of the race, and it just looks as though everyone else is going to be getting that done. Your lead driver at the moment, who has completed 2 stops, is going to be Lucas Laville, and at the moment Hans Pitkanen is just making his way up through the field as well, using those pit stops to his advantage. Back down your field, just looks as though there are some drivers as well who we usually don't see sort of breaking into the top 10 are actually having a bit of a fight. Sam Winton, one of the drivers who we usually see towards the rear of the field in the Classic IndyCar Series, currently sitting P13, and a couple of drivers having a bit of a bad day. Randy Shoemaker down in 22nd, and your current non-finishers is actually, we've got a bit of an incident down into turn number 8. Just looks as though there's a couple of cars off to the outside of the circuit. Bit of a tangle between Franz Josef Stum and Professor Euler Ollier, one of the drivers who was looking up into the top 10. He's now going to be down onto the pit lane. He has heavy damage on that 996 car, and a few drivers not having a good day. Henry Bennett is going to be the first of your top 3, or out of Constantini and Bennett, to bring it down onto the lane. Constantini has to counter this now on this lap, and I think this is going to be interesting to see what happens for the final couple of final 30 laps now left in this race. Henry Bennett is down. He's had his tyres changed. He is away. A 10.3 second stop. Let's have a look at his lane time. That's going to be the more important. 33.5. I cannot compare that to Michaela because Michaela hasn't pitted yet for the second time. And it also looks as though Timo Isinyemi and Austin Espedy are just going to be bringing their battle back into perspective with each other. I think there's still a little bit of a gap between the two. Yes, there is. It's currently sitting around 9/10 of a second, but Timo is not going to be letting Austin go. Michaela Constantini, your leader, is down onto the pit lane for the second time. Let's see what he can do. He's going to be running so slow, 71 kilometers an hour compared to the 250, 260 he's used to down that main straight. He's going to come to a stop. He's going to bring his car to a halt. The service will start. Let's have a look. The lane time is going to be so important in these cars. I do not expect Henry Bennett to be able to regain the lead, but at the moment his gap is down to 43 seconds. Well, he's 43 seconds ahead, apparently, according to my time screen. That can't be right. Let's have a look. Michaela Constantini, 34 seconds on the lane. He had a half a second longer stop. Maybe took a little bit more fuel, getting a little bit of a wiggle on pit exit. A little bit of traffic on his inside, but he'll be able to shift that nice and quickly. Coming through Bishop, almost contact with the number 35 machine of Carson Brovey, who's currently running down in P number 14. Michaela Constantini continues to lead this race by 10 seconds now over Henry Bennett. And back from Henry Bennett, Lucas Laville is only 18 seconds now, but he has trouble from Hans Pickenen behind. Johnny Garrett going to be bringing his car down onto the lane this time. Hans Pickenen is going to be carrying on for now. He's one of the front runners who hasn't bidded yet. Same with Timo St-Jamie. David Costello, who's going to be making his way up into the top 10 for the first time in this race. In the number 58 machine, he hasn't yet pitted. He is down onto the lane this time, and he is going to be coming to get his second service. Everyone now just filtering down through the pit lane, getting their second service done. 28 laps to go here at Sebring International Raceway. And what an exciting races have been so far. We had a very bunched start with 36 cars turning down into turn number 2 and 3 to start with. Few incidents as well involving some of the front runners. Robert Grosser, his day hasn't been the greatest so far, and it probably isn't going to get much better from here. And currently down in P7, he's 11 seconds back. Hans Pickenen going to bring it down onto the lane this time. And also another one is Austin Esparti, who was involved in a little bit of an incident down in P5. He lost quite a lot of the time. Lucas Laville, another one who was involved in an incident. He's managed to get it back up into P number 3. Austin Esparti is going to promote himself back into P number 4. Once everyone has now finished their pit stops this time, the only car left to pit is Rory Collins. He is down in 21st position, so it will not affect your top 10. We will run you through your top 10 quickly here on Racebot TV and on iRacing Live, where you are joining us for the second round of the Classic IndyCar Series. 27 laps remaining now. Michaela Constantini, your 2017 Oval champion, is going to be continuing to lead this race. He has now got a gap of 8 seconds over Henry Bennett. He must have had a slow lap and got a bit of traffic, so everyone's back out, everyone's back running, and we're going to quickly run you through your top 10. Michaela Constantini is going to continue holding that lead over Henry Bennett. He's got an 8-second gap. 14 seconds behind Henry is going to be Lucas Laville in the number 2 machine. 10 seconds back from him is going to be Austin Esparti. Robert Grosser is going to be 5th with Hans Pickenen 14 seconds behind him in 6th. Timo St-Jamie is going to be 11.5 seconds behind in 7th. Matt Cook is on a recovery drive as well, another driver who's had incidents throughout this race. He's going to be 8th. David Costello is going to be 9th. Jos van der Ven is going to be currently rounding out your top 10 in 10th position, and one of the teammates of the late Andy Morgan, who once raced this series and is no longer with us. And Andy, we do miss you. You're a great part of the iRacing community and someone who we will dearly miss forever. And 4X Racing are here representing him, and along with everyone else, and we did pay tribute to him. 46 machine is going to be stopped. That's Matt Cook. Matt Cook is having issues coming out of Sunset. Let's go and have a look at that now and see what happened to him. He's back running again, although he is slow coming off of Sunset this time, and it just looks as though actually he lost it down on the brakes, and around he went and narrowly missed the wall, and just a little bit too much speed coming down into Sunset. Tires might be a little bit out of working range, and he's currently sat behind the car of Lucas Laville, but Lucas Laville is a lap ahead of him, so not going to be a battle position there, but he might be able to save some fuel for him there. And we're going to be looking forward to the final 25 laps of this race, and at the moment everyone's just looking nice and calm. Michaela is going to be currently leading your race, and Henry Bennett just cannot answer him. He cannot close that gap. That gap is 8 seconds. It's a gap he can close in the final 25 laps, but I just cannot see it happening for him. Lucas Laville as well, he's not going to be able to challenge for anything higher than 3rd. He's still 15 seconds back from Henry Bennett, and is something that is not going to be able to close the gap for. And one of the things that is going to be interesting to see for this race is how much is going to be happening, or how much is going to happen for this. And one of the things that is definitely going to be, or we will wait and see. 5 cars now left on your lead lap. Michaela Constantini is doing an excellent job at the front of this field, and is going to be one of those. It's going to be one of those races where we just need to see what will happen and how it's going to end. 24 laps remaining now. Michaela is going to be leading the way. We're going to take you into Racebot fan immersion once again for just a moment's time, and we will be back for you in a minute. We are back at Sebring, and apologies for that, ladies and gentlemen. We just had to have a quick change of producer. Jack Stiles is going to be joining you with Hugo Luis on the cameras for the final 19 laps here at Sebring International Raceway for the second round of the Classic IndyCar Series. And at the moment, Michaela Constantini is going to be continuing to lead from Henry Bennett, who is just 7.5 seconds behind. No one else has really changed places over the last few laps while we were away, and it just looks as though Lucas Laville is going to be keeping that third position nice and steady. Not too many battles out on track at the moment. Only one that I can see is between your 996 and 35 of Vessi Ollier and Carsten Brodby coming into battle for P number 13. And these two are going to be heading quite nice and close to each other. And at the moment, Eula Ollier is going to be sitting behind, looking for a way past Carsten. Carsten is going to be one of these drivers who we usually see around in the mid-pack of CIS, and one of the drivers who is definitely going to be someone to watch out for the rest of the season. And is going to be one who's he's going to be wanting to get past. Here we go. They're going to be going side by side down into turn 1 for the 83rd time. Veso Eula Ollier is going to be able to get it done round the outside nice and easily. One of the drivers we've seen up towards the front of the field so far, and at the moment he's on a bit of recovery drive. He had a bit of trouble down or a bit earlier on in the field, or a bit earlier on in the race, sorry, and he's only now 20 seconds back from Marshall Stanley. Not going to be much he can probably do over the next 17 laps towards the end of the race. And at the moment, your top 10 as well, looking pretty solid. No battles on, and no one even really close to each other in your top 10. Only cars left in your lead lap are your top 5 at the moment. Everyone else is at least one lap down. Michaela Constantini using that short lap to his advantage to making sure everyone else cannot get close to his lead. And the number 66 machine is doing an excellent job, showing why traffic management is such a big thing. Something which me and Will were talking about earlier on in the race was how it's not how fast you are, but it's how you manage the traffic, and it's still a long race. It's going to be about an hour and a half long over the course of this one, and it's definitely going to be one to watch towards the end. And one of the things that we have been concentrating on so far is how there's so many slow corners on this circuit, and Sunset Bend is one of the ones that has to be really careful, because it's not the normal fast sweeping bend that we're used to. It's a much slower, much more composed version of it, which makes the second half of Sunset so much more difficult and so much harder to negotiate. We're going to take you to a quick RaceBot fan immersion, and we'll be back for you in just a moment. Ridden a lap on board of Sebring International Raceway on the modified course with Carsten Brodby. He is currently sitting down in P number 14 at the moment, and one of the things that has been interesting throughout this race is how the traffic has affected so many different aspects of this, and how it gets so interesting towards the end of this race. It's a race of attrition, and in fact the lead gap has come down by 2 seconds now. Henry Bennett is back to 5 seconds. He's going to be able to see Michaela Constantini now coming down into turn number 1, and he is going to be able to see how much he's going to be held up by traffic. Henry Bennett as well, he's got a few cars ahead of him. Michaela is definitely trying to find his way through traffic at the moment, and that's going to be one of the interesting things to watch towards the end of this race. That gap is coming down, but I don't think 14 laps is enough. Lucas Seville has just gone purple through sector number 2, and is showing why he is still one of the fastest drivers and one of the best drivers in the Classic IndyCar Series. And Classic IndyCar Series is, of course, boosted by logical, innovative engineering, and also sponsored by Joel Real Timing, the driver with the least incident points at the end of the race, which for me at the moment is showing as Austin Espartee will win a copy of Joel Real Timing Pro, and it's an app that no iRacer can be without. I use it all the time, and I'm using it at the moment, and it's one of those apps which I believe every iRacer needs. Looking forward towards the end of this race. 13 laps remaining now. Michele Constantini is going to be continuing to lead this race. He has been leading this from the start. Marshall Stanley is going to be down onto the pit lane this time. An unscheduled stop for Marshall. No, it's not. It's a scheduled stop for Marshall. He's been doing 36 laps on this stint. So he's going to fall back down through your field. Vesa Ollier is going to be back up into P number 12. Just seeing everyone else just filtering through, making as Marshall Stanley comes down, he's going to be heading down towards the end. And he's going to be stopped and back out and away he goes. 29.7, 6.6 second stop. He is not going to be, or he's going to be a driver who isn't going to be someone who is worried about the end of this race. Someone as well who should be worried by the end of this race is Michele Constantini. Henry Bennett has closed the gap 2 seconds. He's not closing it anymore because he's stuck in that same traffic pack that Michele was just a few laps ago. And one of the things to watch out for Michele as well, setting his personal best lap time of the race of 57.771. Not too much slower than your fastest lap of the race, set by Matt Cook all those laps ago at 54.768. He's currently running down in P number 8, just 4 seconds behind the car of Timo Isiniemi. That is a battle that could happen towards the end of this race. And I have been joined alongside me by Gary Weaver. And Gary, you're a new commentator to the Classic IndyCar Series, but I'm guessing from what you've seen so far, this is going to be an absolutely awesome end to this race. A couple of battles that could end up paying out towards the end of this.
Yeah, so closing on the end of the race, it's also the time that we close in on, or at least the other drivers close in on their respective opponents that are in front of them or behind them, well, most likely in front of them, as, of course, as these laps wind down. It's going to be quite interesting to see how everyone starts to see if there's a different level of aggression that they'll be using as compared to pretty much the start of this race.
And of course, it's going to be interesting. The last 11 laps of this race, there's a couple of drivers who are going to be close on the end of fuel. Lucas Laville is one of them. He's currently 26 laps into his stint. 11 laps to go. These fuel tanks can't go any more than about 37 laps from what I've seen. He is going to be breaking rules. He's going to have to be saving fuel. Looks as though he might be as well, because he's losing a little bit of time to Austin Espartee behind. And strategy has been such an important part of IndyCar, and it always is. The number 3 machine has also stopped coming out of Le Mans. As Randy Shoemake not having the day he wanted, he's going to be getting on his way now. But strategy is such an important thing in any long race like this.
Yeah, and of course, it's going to be, hopefully some of these drivers can make it to the end on fuel, as right now watching the 35 and the 96. That's Karsten Brodowry in the 35. Probably accidentally mispronounced his last name, but nonetheless, Klaus Pearson at 96 as well, running right behind him. So again, 100 laps at this track, and they're just winding down. They're closing in on what's to be 11 laps to go for them right now. Right now that battle is about roughly, it's a good distance right now, but again, as laps close in, strategy and fuel come into effect, maybe some of these drivers can't make it to the end, and that's going to be devastating, especially at this type of a racetrack.
Klaus Peterson is only now a second behind Carsten Brodby. He was within draft range, and he's going to be using on straight and the main straight to his advantage. Carsten as well, he was quicker on the last lap, but only by about 1/10 of a second, and coming down into these final few laps, every 10th is going to mean everything. Lead gap as well is back out to around staying at 5.5 seconds between Michele Constantini and Henry Bennett. Henry Bennett as well is one of those drivers who, he's obviously based in the UK, and he stays up madly late and does these IndyCar races, because obviously a lot of these series are based in America, and he will stay up madly late and do some of these races. He races in the Indy Elite Series, and I would expect him to see up at the front of the iRacing. Indy 500, the month of May, is only 23 days away. We hope you are all excited as we are at RaceSpot TV. Battle up on your screen, or seeing the time gaps now on your screen between Michele Constantini and Henry Bennett. Klaus Peterson as well hasn't really been able to close the gap on Carsten Brodby, still sitting at around 9/10. They're matching each other's lap times. Matt Cook as well, he's on a charge. He's only now 1.5 seconds back from Timo Yami, as well as Michaela Constantini, fastest lap of the race of 54.743, and he's doing a sterling drop up at the front in that number 66 machine. He's pulling the gap out as well onto Henry Bennett, using clean air to his advantage. And as well, Matt Cook, Timo Yami gap has gone back out. 2.5 is staying about that, but Matt Cook will be able to want to make up a little bit more points and a few more positions as well towards the end of this race.
That's pretty much go time for Matt Cook right now, as he's going to make his move to the driver's left side of Timo Yami right now, so you can move him up to 8th place, what I believe is would be 8th place, and well, on the front side, this is going to be Lucas Laville, but he's in 3rd right now. He doesn't really have any single part of this battle, thankfully for him. So luckily, it's still going to be a battle between the 33 and 46, as we're only still closing in within these final few laps. So there's still time for Matt Cook to actually make his move for that 7th place position, as I believe I've gotten my drivers mixed up. So apologies for that, but Cook is still looking for that 7th place position, and he's closing the final laps, and he's closed the gap right here coming down to the front straightaway. It's about car length of space down to the driver's right side on the front straightaway. Still down this long front straightaway. Matt Cook will clear Timo into turn number 1, so now you can move Matt Cook up to 7th.
Matt Cook is going to be taking P number 7, just with 6.5 laps remaining for him now. Lucas Laville has managed to counteract Michaela Constantini, saying a new fastest lap of the race of 54.733 for that position, for that car in position number 3. Caleb Weekly coming down to make another pit stop. He's going to be down in 26th position. He has not had a good day, and it looks as though his day is getting even worse. And at the moment, still looks as though Timo Yami and Matt Cook are going to be battling it out. Sam Winton has also managed to get his way past Andrew Aitken for position number 17, down towards the rear of your field. Just 22 cars left remaining, no more retirees since the last time we went through it, and at the moment it just looks as though everyone is getting ready for the final 6 lap of this race. It's been such an exciting race so far. From the get-go, it's been green all the way, because obviously it's a road course, we don't need caution, and obviously so many great battles. This lead battle was so good for the first stint. Went out a bit towards the end, and ever since, Michaela has just been pulling away and kept on going. Austin Espity as well, setting personal best lap, showing that, okay, he might be on worn tyres, but he's still going to be fast. Traffic as well has been so important. So many mistakes coming through. The likes of turn 2 and 3, Bishop Corner, and 8 and 9, Sunset Bend. There's so many problems as well coming through Le Mans onto the Ullman Straight, and Gary, Sebring is one of those infamous tracks for this, as Henry Bennett sets a new fastest lap of the race on 54.716.
3/10 faster than your leader, the 66, of Michael Costanenti, as I believe I still mispronounced that, but that gap is still about 5 or so seconds. 5.2 is what I'm seeing over here on JRT right now, so it's pretty much just not enough time, it would seem like. It's 5 laps to go, coming to 4 laps to go eventually, once Michael crosses a start-finish line at 66 in just a few moments, as he's going to head down through these final few corners for the 4 laps to go this time around right now. So this time around, that's going to be the lap time difference to be looked at. Across the line, it's going to be the 66 at 54.864 from Michael, and Henry gets a 54.889, so 200ths faster was that 66 this last time around.
Just 4 laps remaining now. 13 kilometers left in this 100-lap race here at Sebring International Raceway. We thank you all for joining, and with 3 laps remaining, you've got to stick on to wait and see what happens. Michaela is doing such a great job in that number 66 machine up at the front. One of the guys who we have seen all day. Timo Yami as well hasn't been able to shake Matt Cook. We've got a car round coming through turn number 2 and 3. That is going to be, can't see, now he's got moving. As well as Austin Espity still setting personal best times for his race. And Timo Yami and Matt Cook is going to be setting, they're still going to be within a second of each other, the 33 and 46. I think Timo is just going to be trying to sit behind him. Michaela Constantini, new fastest lap of the race of 54.674. They're just bouncing off each other with fastest laps now.
And the battle for its 7th is heating up again. Down to the driver's right side is going to be Timo in that 33. And this last couple of corners almost making contact and forcing wide is going to be Matt Cook almost into the barriers. Coming out of the final corner, they're still side by side. And Timo couldn't get any kind of an advantage right now as it's only 3 laps to go for those drivers at least. 3 laps to go for the lead lap. Sorry, 2 laps actually. As 46 and 33 are still battling around this racetrack, and Timo has to have, he's gotten that opportunity right, but he's just got to make it at the right moment again as that gap has now increased exponentially between those 2 drivers.
Timo so nearly had it coming on Matt Cook through there. Michaela Constantini, another purple time of 54.589. Come on, Michaela, you've only got 2 more laps to go. Let's not get too excited now. But Timo Sanyemi, he's trying everything to get past. Michaela Constantini is going to be 1.5 laps to go. He won round 1, and is he going to be able to take the same in lap 2? He's still got to navigate another lap around here, but Henry Bennett was so close to it at the start. He got 2 poles now for Henry Bennett. He has not been able to translate those into wins yet, and so far they just cannot get it done. Matt Cook, Timo Sanyemi, that battle is over. Now the 2 teammates are going to go at it for P number 9, David Sestella and Jos van der Ven. These guys are going to be nice and close. Don't think they're going to be close enough for Van der Ven to make a challenge, one of the drivers we see oh so often up at the front of the 60 Classic Racing Adventures. But Michaela Constantini rounding Sunset Bend for the second to last time. He's going to cross the line, and he is going to take 1 more lap. White flag, 1 to go here at Sebring International Raceway. He is going to be the star of the race so far, Michaela Constantini, and he has done such a good job up the front of this field. Coming down into turn number 2, car number 5 is going to be through turn number 5 and 6. That is your car of, I will find it for you in a sec, Rory Collins down the 21st position as Michaela Constantini comes through those same section of corners. Down into turn number 7, onto the Almond Straight for the final time. 2 more corners, Michaela. Sunset, Bend, and keeping you from round number 2 of the Classic IndyCar Series. He has put on such a good job. Strategy worked so well for him. Qualified not on pole, but he is going to be taking the race win here at Sebring International Raceway. He held off some stiff competition from Henry Bennett and Robert Grosser, Lucas Seville behind, but Michaela Constantini wins round number 2 of the Classic IndyCar Series, and that for Logical Vortex Racing. And 2 for 2 here. Henry Bennett is going to be coming over second, and on that final lap, setting the fastest lap of the race of 54.426. Lucas Seville is going to be coming home in third. He had a bit of a bad race. He's going to come down into Sunset Bend this time. He had a bit of an issue, but he's come back. He has got a podium. The Frenchman showing why he is still one of the names to watch in the Classic IndyCar Series, and that is your podium for today. Austin ST is going to bring his car home in 4th as Hans Pitkin and Matt Cook, Timo Sanyemi come over for 6th, 7th and 8th. Last car on the lead lap is going to be Robert Grosser in the number 1 machine, your 3-time champion for the Classic IndyCar Series, and the last car running out on track. He is going to be coming at home in P5, and that was an exciting race. And Gary, you may have only been here for the last 15 laps or so, but this is just showing that we have a great season here on Racebot TV for the Classic IndyCar season coming up for you.
Yeah, and that battle for 9th was definitely one of those examples, as about between the 058 and the 167. That was Devon in that 167 that tried to make a last-ditch effort and get that 9th place position at the line, but it was just a half a car length too short from getting that position. But like you mentioned, that number 66 of Michael Constantini is, I guess I can't pronounce names apparently, but congratulations to him, and well, it's definitely going to benefit him later in the series.
He's just performing his ritual of donuts over the start-finish line there, Michaela, and taking 2 for 2 now in the Classic IndyCar Series. And we're going to quickly run you through your final standings, and Michaela Constantini taking round number 2 of the Classic IndyCar Series, and 2 for 2 now for him. Henry Bennett is going to be coming home in 2nd position. Your pole sitter wasn't able to turn that into a win today. Lucas Seville is going to round out your podium. Austin SBT is going to come home in 4th with Robert Grosser in 5th. Hans Pitkanen is going to be 6th with Matt Cook in 7th. Timo Sanyemi is going to be 8th. David Sestella and Jos van der Ven, those two had a good scrap. David Sestella managed to hold on for 9th position, and Jos van der Ven going to be coming home and rounding out your top 10.
Finishing 11th is going to be Johnny Garrett, continuing that unfortunately continue that string of cars that was either a lap or more down. The number 996 is going to be finishing in 12th. That is Vesa. The 13th position goes to Carson Bordari. 14th is going to be Marshall Stanley. 15th. 14th is going to be Marshall Stanley. 15th going to be Klaus Pearson, Mike Garlisa, Andrew Eichen, Sam Winton, and Andrew Saunders and Fred Stum round out your 15th through 20th.
21st is going to be Rory Collins, and 22nd is going to be Randy Shoemake. They are going to be riding out your 22 cars who finished this race today. Non-finishers are going to be Liam Quinn, Niall McBride, two names who we see so often in IndyCar racing, not having a good race today. Mr. 2K Cup himself, Philippe Lebert, is going to be down in 25th. He had an awful debut in the Classic IndyCar Series. Caleb Weekly is going to be finishing 20th, and then Todd Novas, Robert Waddell, John Elmswarmer, Jonathan Diggs, Joel Tremblay, Matt Molnar, Jono Karjinen, Benjamin Gregory, Jan Hoffman, Tyler Vickery are going to be your did not finishers. Joshua Baird wasn't able to take the start due to technical issues. We're going to step aside for a couple of moments here on RaceBot TV, and we will be back with the post-race show for the second round of the Classic IndyCar Series from Sebring.
Team racing allows multiple iRacing members to team up and race together, just like in real-world endurance series. Teammates can share driving duties, spot for one another, or be a crew chief. Team racing is free both to join a team and to create one. Each teammate races on his or her own computer from wherever they want to. Your teammates can be anywhere in the world, and changing drivers mid-race is as easy as a click of a button. iRacing features team endurance events ranging from just a couple of hours to 24 hours in length. So, if you fancy taking part in an iRacing endurance race in the future, you can learn more about team racing on the teams page on the member website.
"100 laps later, and we have the same winner once again in the Classic IndyCar Series. Michaela Constantini going to be taking the glory to going down onto victory lane and drinking the milk. He's going to be building up to his month of May, which starts in just 23 days, and building up to the iRacing Indy 500. And Michaela, first of all, congratulations on your win. You had a great battle with Henry Bennett to start with in that the opening section. Was that a lot of pressure? Because at one point it was 7 or 8 cars for that lead train.
Yeah, first of all, thanks, Jack, for the congratulations. And yeah, on the first stint, I had a very nice battle with Henry. You can always count on him racing clean. I mean, he's always been very clean throughout the whole season, and yeah, there's no reason for him to be. There is no reason for us to don't do a nice battle, because we are both, I think, pretty clean drivers, so it resulted in a nice battle. And yeah, I mean, it was a big train at the start, and yeah, we just tried to keep it clean. And we had a bit of a contact in turn 2. It was around lap 20 something, I don't remember very well now, where I was actually up on 2 wheels. And yeah, it's certainly a nice feeling to win even after that.
And obviously we aren't running the normal layout with Sebring, we're running a slightly condensed version, I can say. And how is that with traffic? Because obviously there's not many places to pass other than the 2 straights, and it's got to be so difficult knowing that you've got drivers behind who can challenge for a win, but the traffic is definitely going to be something which will depend on whether you win or not.
Traffic was expected to be like this, but I mean, I was expecting it to be pretty difficult to handle. So I was basically ready for it. So yeah, I think most of my gap on Henry was just because of managing traffic. He had a little bit of some kind of problems with traffic in the first stint, so I managed to build like a 9 seconds gap. Then it came down while I was just managing the gap after all the traffic had gone.
And obviously, before we let you go, who would you like to thank today?
I would like to thank my team, as always, Logical Vortex Sim Racing, our sponsors, Logical and JRT, and I would like to thank especially Robert, Joel, and Timo for the setup work, as they made most of the setup. I did a setup for myself as well, but it wasn't as fast as their setup, so I just used theirs. And yeah, it was very fast, so thanks to them. And last but not least, thank you to you guys for the awesome broadcast as always.
And drinking the milk today is going to be your winner of Michaela Constantini. And our third place finisher is going to be joining us now. That is going to be Lucas Laville. And Lucas, you had a tough start to that race, being involved in an incident. You had to pit early and make sure that you could get to the end on 2 stops. And you managed to come back third, but you could have surely got higher.
Yeah, I could have indeed, but maybe not. I don't know. I don't know really. Traffic was tough, as Michele described, and that incident in turn 2 was definitely on me. So my apologies to Michele and Robert and all the guys that were involved, because I didn't check the replay yet, but my nose was on the inside 3 wide, so that's definitely on me. Yeah, tough race for me. Fuel saving for 70 laps is not what you want to do at this kind of track, but that's what I do best. And yeah, third place is definitely a good result after such a tough race.
And looking forward to the season, are you going to take lessons that you've learned today and make sure that you can apply them later on?
Yeah, definitely. First of all, like, be patient. I think something we thrive for in this league, and still we need to work better in that sense, especially me. And then yeah, just be 100% at all times, because of the competition level. You have to be on point every single time, every single lap.
And before we let you go and celebrate your podium with your team, who would you like to thank today, Lucas?
I would like to thank first of all Robert and all the guys at CIS that make all this possible. It was once again a huge grid for us today with 36 stars, so very happy for the league and the health of the league. Big congrats to Michele for the win once again. Pizzaman is rolling, that's for sure. And thanks to you guys, Jack, and all the RaceBot crew for all the hard work you put in this one as well.
And that is your third place finisher today of Lucas Laville. And Gary, you are standing by, I believe, with our second place finisher of Henry Bennett.
Yeah, the 007 of Henry Bennett started on pole and finished in second. So overall, at least for that one thing, it didn't seem too good for you, but you did manage to come home in second and get the best lap of the entire race with a 54.426. So overall, how was your entire race today?
Henry, you got us?
I think he's tired.
I wouldn't be surprised. Well, unfortunately, we aren't going to be joined by Henry, and that's an unfortunate thing. So, Robert, would you like to answer that question?
Sorry, I didn't really listen. But maybe talk to Austin first. He finished P4 ahead of me.
Yeah, okay. So Austin Espartee is actually going to be standing by with Gary Weaver.
Well, Austin, similar question to you. You started in 8th and you made your way up to 4th. So overall, you got 4 positions throughout this entire race and well over 100 laps. I'm pretty sure your arms are tired. But how did that race car handle out for you here today?
Well, the first stint was pretty good. I lost the draft and then caught back up to it, and good. Then little mayhem happened, and in the second stint, I got caught up in the Joel wreck, got a little damage from that. That was actually before the first stint, but I didn't repair any of the damage in the pit stop. Then right after, I got kind of hit on the left side, beginning of the second stint. So the entire second stint, I was driving with damage, and I was about a half second off for what I should have been. So thanks for the fast repair. In the third stint, I was able to get the car repaired and get back up to speed. But it was an eventful race. I I'm happy to take home a fourth after I was struggling all practice.
Well, it's good to know that you improved after all that struggling. Out of 37, 36 drivers, you managed to keep your pace up and use the slipstream to your advantage as well. So for your fourth place finish, who would you like to thank?
Henry for the setup, and Robert and all them for putting on the league. It's my first race in a while, I think, so it's definitely fun. Looking forward for the rest of the season.
Congratulations for your first top 5 in a while here in the Classic IndyCar Series. And then similar question for Robert. Unfortunately, though, you started in second and then you dropped down to fifth, but you still managed to pull off a top 5. So same question goes to you. How did your setup handle here today? And how often did you use the slipstream to your advantage?
Yeah, definitely. In the beginning, it was very inciting to drive with Henry and Michele up front, using the draft, saving some fuel. Wasn't really able to make a make a safe move on Henry for the lead, so I was very patient. And sometimes when lap traffic was struggling ahead of us, I was not forcing the issue like making 3 wide or anything like this, just taking it easy. And it all went very well. At some point, of course, Michele went by, passing both of us for the lead. That was still very exciting. Matt just behind of us. Nice train there going. And then, unfortunately, as Lucas already said, he pushed me into a spin. I haven't seen the replay either, can't say anything right now. So yeah, it happens. So then I had to recover from there.
Well, you definitely did an amazing job. You finished in fifth, and of course, I'm seeing a couple of turns completely rubbered up. So did you have to adjust your pace as the track also had worn in for some rubber?
Yeah, well, it was obvious that the track was getting quite fast in the end. That's for sure. I tried a little bit of a gamble, did the whole race on one set of tires. I think it wasn't the best idea in the end because I saw Austin's pace in the very end of the race, and he was then picking up quite some pace on the rubber track, and I was struggling a little bit. Tires were still above 90%, but still not enough to impress Austin in any way. So, yeah, I gambled a little bit, and it didn't really paid off in the end.
You definitely most likely would have gotten a better finishing position. But before I let you go, is there anyone that you'd like to thank for your fifth place finish here today?
Yeah, first of all, our sponsors, Logical Innovative Engineering and Joel Real Timing. Of course, my team Vortex Sim Racing. Then, of course, you guys from RaceSpot TV. And also, I want to give a shout out to Philippe, who was also racing for the first time with us today from the Skip Barber League that you are also broadcasting on Sundays. Want to give a shout out because we worked a little bit on both our schedules to avoid any sort of conflict, and it was very nice to work with him. He was very very nice to make it possible that we both got the most possible time from RaceSpot TV. So thanks to Philip.
We are going to go ahead and let you go. Congratulations again on your fifth place finish. That was the number 1 of Robert Grosser, and I believe we have finally caught up with Henry Bennett.
Hello?
Yeah, there we go. Now we got you. Well, he finished in... That's fine, it happens. But started on pole and finished in second, so I believe Jack Styles is internally excited, no doubt. But he started on the pole and finished in second, so just for that, not too much of a good race, but he still managed to pull off a podium and get the fastest lap of the race, but unfortunately just at the wrong time as well. But most likely it was definitely still a very positive performance for you.
Yeah, I mean, I was going for the win, really, so second and fastest lap. Fastest lap is more like a consolation prize, so happy to get that at least. I think I was probably a bit too conservative with traffic, especially during the middle stint. Michele seemed to gain a lot of time, especially just after the first pit stop. I lost a lot of time, and there was a car wrecking on pit exit, which Michele just managed to avoid as well. And I made a bit of a strategy error. Didn't take tyres on the first stop, which I thought would help on the first few laps of that stint, but I was just slow. And the third stint with new tyres just showed how much better new tyres were.
Well, tires were definitely playing a factor into this race, as well as you mentioned. So, of course, you did again finish in second. Did you have to adjust your pace or anything with your in car after the track had finally started to wear in after a majority of the laps?
No, not really. I think our setup was quite well balanced with new tyres and a heavy fuel load, as well as at the end of the stint with low fuel and worn tyres. I mean, the tyre wear wasn't that great here. Balance didn't change a lot. You just went a bit slower on worn tyres. So yeah, no in-car changes at all. The main the main focus of the race was just not hitting the slower cars, because there's I'm sure you heard from the others. There's a massive pace discrepancy. A lot of questionable moves. So a lot of work for the league to tighten up the driving standards, I think.
Well, he managed to pull off a second place finish after all of that 100 laps here. Before I let you go, anyone that you'd like to thank for your second place podium finish?
Oh yeah, my team, Absolute Power Slide. I worked on the set with them, and yeah, there's a lot of good advice from them. Real depth of knowledge, IndyCar setups from them, as well as the league. Robert and Lucas, they do a lot of hard work, and yourselves at RaceSpot for broadcasting.
It was definitely fun to watch. Even if I was here for the last 15 laps, it was still exciting. So we're going to go ahead and let you go. Congratulations once again on your second place finish. And Jack Stiles, I believe, is standing by with 7th place finisher Matt Cook.
I am. He started P5 and he hit trouble, and that's all that he needed to finish his race. Matt Cook is going to be your 7th place finisher, and he is going to be joining me now. Matt, how was your drive back through the field? Because you put on awesome effort to get back into 7th, and you had a challenge from Mr. Yabi in the last few laps. But take us through what it was like winding your way through the traffic to get back up to where you finished.
Just taking each turn as they come. I mean, I opted for a low downforce set, which did not work with the amount of traffic that we had going around there. That was my own fault for making that choice, but it was just about timing your moves as best you can. Most of my passes happen on the back or front stretch, so that was pretty straightforward. But anywhere through the S turn, I had to play it cautiously, just because you're never sure where that car is going to be.
And obviously, looking forward, Kansas is the next round. We're back onto the ovals. That's going to be is that going to show a different strength in your driving and hopefully get you back up towards the front of the field?
I'm hoping so. Still working on getting back in the groove of things here, but this was definitely a good step. First road course I've driven in 4 years, so I'll take it as a positive outcome. Yeah, definitely hoping to have a good showing at Kansas, and I'm going to start working on it early.
And before we let you go, Matt, who would you like to thank today?
Definitely want to thank all the guys at Banshee and AeroX. They've been really supportive, especially Randy. He was with me the entire time, making sure that I knew where all the traffic was around me, so an extra special thanks for that. But also to RaceSpot and CIS for putting on a great show here.
Well, unfortunately, that is all we have time for today. And I think one of the things that we have to take out of this round is that Henry Bennett and Michaela Constantini are going to be two strong drivers to look out for towards the end of this year. And they're going to be two championship contenders. Don't forget, every single round of the Classic IndyCar Series is going to be broadcasted live for you here on RaceSpot TV and on iRacing Live. It will wrap up on Sunday, the 14th of October. But first, we have 10 more races. Join us in 3 weeks' time at Kansas Speedway for the Kansas Lottery Indy 300. And we will see what will happen. Michaela Constantini is going to take it 2 for 2. And before we go today, we would like to thank everyone who helps us out at RaceSpot. That is going to be for Istvan Balau at trackcams22.com for our amazing track cameras. Andreas Werner, custom overlay design, and also the official designer for Valtteri Bottas' helmet for this year. Overlay animation thanks goes to Simon Grossman of AppEngineer.in, and your live timing brought to you on RaceBot TV /timing is going to come from Nick Thyssen. I have been Jack Styles, and I have been joined by Will Vincent. Get well soon, bud. And Gary Weaver. Hugo Luis has been controlling the cameras for the final 30 laps. We have been RaceBot TV. This has been round 2 of the classic IndyCar series from Sebring International Raceway. Join us in 3 weeks at Kansas Speedway for what is going to be 300 miles of close, intense racing. Good night.